Good afternoon. This is Myra again. So today our topic is about stress. I posted um, a link of our Facebook Live, but something happened. We cannot go online right now or go live right now. So I'd rather record this webinar instead of being live. So the title is Breaking Free from Stress. So the question is, can we really break free from stress? Well, really, that depends on how you view stress. If it is a burden or a, what do you call this one, a shackle, then you need to break free from it. But if you look at stress as something challenging or something that helps you, then you should not break free from stress. So it really depends on how you think of what a stress is. So today I'm gonna just talk about what stress is all about and our body's response to stress. So basically I do have a book that I got the information from, and also from some of my readings and personal experiences as well. So imagine yourself being in a jungle, and suddenly there is a huge lion trying to attack you. And what do you think would happen? I bet most of us would probably just run away quickly. We don't need to think about it. It's just instinct, right? So our body normally responds to a threat involuntarily. It's just the way our brain is is functioning. So according to Walter Cannon, he was one of the pioneer of stress study. He said he coined the term fight and flight response. So our body's response to a threatening situation or a threatening idea. So the definition is kind of um, a bit complex. Yeah, we don't have just one word or one sentence um, that explain what stress is, but definitely one of the most famous definition is that it is a non-specific response of the body to any demand upon it. So there are good kinds of stress, so good, like say good things, which is called eustress. Like for example, if you have an examination coming up, you do feel stressed because you need to prepare for it, and that's a good kind of stress, because then it motivates you to study. While the other kinds of stress, that comes from bad things or bad things, it's called distress, like death and moving to a new place. So those are stress that coming from bad things or bad situation that cause distress. So you might ask what causes stress. Um, well, there are tons of um, causes of stress, right? But some of the theories said that what causes stress is life events. So stress occurs when a situation requires more resources than are available. It seems that, let's say, if there are things that you need to do and you have to do it, but you don't have enough resources to meet that need, so then there's a stress, and it becomes stressful to you. Say, let's say, for example, if one day I have too much load, too many things to do, and I feel like I don't have time to do everything. And so it means that I don't have enough resources to meet the deadlines or to meet those activities, to finish those activities, then I feel stressful. So another thing is from allostatic load is the wear and tear of the body, the wear and tear of our um, capacity to respond, capacity to meet the needs. So let's say, I'll give you an example, um, like a temperature. There's, it's in our body. When we take temperature, there's a certain number of degree, like 36 degrees is the normal temperature of our body. But if it's beyond that, like 40 or 39, then that's definitely you have a fever. But it's but below 36, then it's also not healthy, it's not good for our body. So there is a certain equilibrium that we need to maintain to in order um, um, to in order to function well. So another theory is called harness theory, which is the attitude towards those events. Is it stressful or not? So this is how you perceive it. If a situation or thing is or an event is a challenge instead of a threat. So if it's just a challenge, then it's less stressful. But if think of it as a threat, and it can be stressful. Let's say I'll give you an example. So if two people who think that from having a promotion is a good thing, and then it inspires them to do more and to work harder, and they think it's a good challenge. But someone who think that, wow, it's a good promotion, yes, there's a it's a good thing because it has it gives more finances, but then it takes up a lot of time, and you get so tired, and you think you're not capable to do the job, then you feel stressful. So two people, the same event, the same situation, but they respond differently. So that's just how you perceive stress. Depends on your perspective, so how you respond to stress depends on your perspective. So again, this is what I talked about. If you think that stress is a shackle, then you need to break free from it. But if you think stress is something that can help you, is to be inspired, to work hard, um, to to help you to move forward, then you don't need to get or um, be free of stress. To be very honest, stress is a normal thing in our lives. Stress is not necessarily a bad thing. Again, we can't escape stress in our lives, because too much no stress or less stress is actually not also good, but also too much stress is detrimental to our health. So there is this balance, this we call equilibrium. Another thing is, another cause of stress is this lack of social support. So if you do have lots of things to do, if you have this need and you don't have the support of the people around you, or you don't have enough social support, then that actually becomes more stressful. Your stress becomes more difficult to handle, difficult to manage. So yeah, social support theory. The stressor, let's talk about the word stressor. It is a stimulus with a potential for triggering the fight flight response. So stressor, anything or any event that has the potential to trigger our body's response. We called it stress reactivity. So again, let's say you're a hunter and you are in the jungle and trying to hunt a deer. So then you do normally you're very hyper vigilant, because it can be very dangerous. You get a lot of animals in 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 the jungle, and it can threaten your life. So let's say if you're a hunter and you're there, and suddenly there was a big lion, your first instinct is to either run away, or you fight. And some people do freeze, the flight or freeze response. So the problem with this kind of stressor is that it's very present in our modern times. So we might not have lions around us or dangerous animals around us, and yet we do have lots of stresses around us. It could be from our jobs, the demands of our jobs, and financial burdens and physical illnesses. So yeah, there are many things that stress us, especially in these modern times. And the problem with that is when it's become chronic, when it's the duration of that stress is longer, then it's very detrimental for our health, not just on the psychological area, but also physically. It can make people get sick. So there's this word strain. So let's say strains meaning is this is, let's say if you have this stressor and you react to it, let's say you flight or you fight, and then you get tired, and then there's a strain. There's the result of that prolonged stress. So let's say the body, you go to the gym and exercise well, and it's strenuous, then it actually, if it's too much, it strains your muscles. So the same with psychologically, if it's prolonged stress, then it strains you psychologically. I'll say an example like agoraphobia can be a result of too much stress, and that stems from, it's psychological example of a strain that's causing that caused from so much stress. So and agoraphobia is where you're being fear being in a crowd. So just so we think about it. So with someone who has an agoraphobia, just by thinking about being in a crowd, it triggers the response and this fear response, and then their body respond to it. So this is an example of strains. So again, to summarize what stress is, there's a combination of a stressor. Stressor means anything that can trigger stress, and then so a combination of a stressor, and then there is stress reactivity. You respond to the stress. Yeah, you either fight, flight, or you freeze, and then strain, like when your body gets exhausted, and then when there's a prolonged stress, it will strain you, or there's the bad detrimental results because of the strain. So, how stress affects your health? Stress can be brief, situational, and a positive force motivating performance. But if experienced over an extended period of time, it can become chronic stress, which negatively impacts health and well-being. So, according to some research, that stress causes 70 to 90% of hospital visits caused by stress. So 75% to 90% of all doctors' office visits are for stress-related ailments and complaints. So 43% of all adults suffer adverse health effects from stress. So how does chronic stress manifest? It can manifest psychologically, physically, emotionally. Let's say in the brain, it increased risk for headaches, insomnia, depression, and anxiety. In the stomach, digestive problems, weight gain, and in heart, high blood pressure, increased risk of heart disease, and it weakens immune system. It can be and you're more susceptible to illnesses. Do you notice that when you're so stressed, then you easily get sick? You get this cold and cough quite easily. Yeah, that's just the effect of a chronic stress in our body. So that's my question right now is what, there is a study in the US that causes people get so stressed. So number one is money, and second is economy, and three is family health problems. And then the effects of that is top one risk effect is irritability. People get irritable and angry, and then of course fatigue or get very tired. And the third one is they lie awake at night, so it means that they can't sleep. Those are the effects of stress. So personally, so what causes stress on your part? What are your stress? Or let's say for me, I do have when I do have too much activity or I get overloaded with schedules, um, then it's easy for me to get overwhelmed, and I normally respond to irritability, and I can't think very well. And also lack of sleep. When I don't sleep very well, it's trigger. I become so anxious, and again I can't think very well as well, and I become emotional. So, and the second one is when I'm not prepared. Let's say there's a test and I'm not prepared, or there's a deadline at school, and then I'm not prepared for it, so I kind of get stressed about it. Trying um, to meet the deadlines. Um, and the third one is, this is huge for me, is resistance to change. I think I thought it's easy for me to change. I feel like change is good, but mentally, sometimes I find myself being resistant to it, and I get stressed. Let's say, for example, I love the idea of moving around um, to be in different places, but it's also stressful when I get to um, meet to establish new routines again, and get to meet people again, and learn new things, and get to know the environment. So it's good, but it's also stressful because I have to adapt to the environment. So that again, those are the top three stressors. So I think it's important for all of us to kind of identify our stressors, and then and how we can work around it, since we cannot actually get rid of all the stresses in our lives, so that they are very part of our existence. So it's important for us to identify the top stressors, and then find a way to how to lessen the load. So think of it as a bucket. So as each one of us has what we call the bucket stress. So some of us have a huge bucket, and their capacity to carry stressors are long and big, but some of us, like me, I kind of have just I will say a small bucket, so I easily get overwhelmed. So what we're gonna do is we make sure that the bucket has a hole, or an opening, so that even though there are stresses coming in, it also comes out, just like water. And then there's a hole, so the more we put holes in it, so when stressors come in, then it just comes out. So that's what we're going to do. So we find our holes. So for me, it's important um, to maintain rest, um, rest and recreation, and I do need to exercise. That's just how it's important to me. And also music helps me. Listen to music, and I watch movies. So we watch movies with my husband, and also socialization. I really find it's pleasurable, and I love it. So those are really important. So sleep as well I think is really number one for me. I just needed to rest, and sleep is the number one healing you know healing to me. So, well, each one of us has make coping mechanisms. So if you are in avoidant type, like let's say you work under our stressors, and you say, well, you know what, I'll deal with the stress later, I'll deal with the problem later, I'll do right now what I can do, what's important. um, so I think the type of avoidant is important that uh, they do maintain regular downtime. So um, the good thing first about avoidant is they kind of um, have to, how do you say, compartmentalize when is the best time to deal with those stressors or with those situation that cause them stress. um, and again, the it's um, how to face it, how to deal with those stressors is um, to do a regular downtime, so that you're more ready to face those stressors. And another type of a coping mechanism is called ruminative. Those people who really think about a problem again and again and again. They think right now, and they think about it, and right at that moment. So the good thing about that is they deal with the problem head on, but that also leads to overthinking. So if they weren't able to deal the problem immediately, they probably most likely bring it at home. So people who are ruminative, they have to incorporate a regular, what we call a daily recharge, where they can take their focus off the problem, off the stressors. So even though the stressor is there will be time to kind of recharge, and be um, more more ready psychologically and physically to deal with those stressors. And that can be helpful when there's this pleasure activities that take them away from the stressors. Another type of coping mechanism is what we call hypervigilant people um, who physical respond to stress, and sometimes I do have that. So when they become anxious, and um, they kind of more, of course, more responsive physically. Their heart beats faster. They're more physically more alert and anxious. So I think it's important that there's again this daily recharge, and that include exercise. So especially as people have lots of energy, and they're more tend to store more energy in their body, and they become more anxious. So I think to get rid of some of those excess energy, to it's probably better to do some physical activities that would help them get rid of some of those energy. And also a meditation can be helpful, the time to kind of just relax the brain and body, and it's some people this is very very effective to them, and especially the progressive muscle relaxation. People who easily get tense, the progressive muscle relaxation is very helpful. So yeah, and there are other meditation exercises that are helpful, that you can find on the web or on YouTube if you're interested to learn more about that. So yeah, so those are the things that right now I can kind of giving you ideas of um, how to kind of manage or deal with your stressors. Again, stress is part of our lives. It's for us how to go about it and how to deal with it in a more positive and healthy way. So there is positive coping mechanism, and there is a negative or unhealthy coping mechanism. And so, healthy coping could be rests, exercise, meditation, socialize, activities. This is holistic well-being, and spirituality is helpful as well. So, and unhealthy coping could be, drugs and alcohol. Yeah. So again, identify your stressors and think about ways where you can how to deal with those stressors, and what are most effective strategies for you to be able to recharge and relax, so that you can actually face those stressors head on and more productively. So again, it's equilibrium is important, there are stresses and you can avoid it, but then there's also ways of um, making it you know to listen it. There's also ways to, I always say it's like a bucket, there's a hole in it, there's ways we can, an outlet that can help us balance our well-being. So that's all for now. If you have questions, maybe you can we can talk more about this in Zoom, and it's good if there's a Zoom. There's an interaction if you have some questions. So thank you so much. And if you want to know my resources, just let me know, and I can send you more updates. So thank you, and see you soon again.